Yo, what is going on? This is your boy That Guy Face with Face the Music Media. We are back again for another episode of How I Synth. In this video, we got Synapse Audio Obsession. Let's get into it. Oh yeah. Oh mama. Oh yeah. Face the music. So, I'm really pumped about this one. I can't even lie. I absolutely love this synthesizer, and I got a lot of requests to cover this synthesizer. And if you haven't already, go check out my other Synapse Audio Legend synthesizer review. I got a lot of views on that one. I got a lot of interaction, and people said, hey man, why don't you go ahead and review Obsession as well? So I said, hey, I might as well go ahead and do it. So here we are. But before we get into that, man, I just want to let you all know, here at Face the Music Media, we are passionate about helping producers find their sound by learning how to program synths from scratch. That's the whole purpose of this channel. So learning synth programming really took my production to a whole nother level, and I just want to share that with as many producers as possible. Because we all know synth programming can be very intimidating, but it's not that bad once you learn the foundation. But anyway, before we get started, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. If you enjoy this type of content, hit that thumbs up and share the video. It really means a lot to us because our goal is to help producers find their unique sound. And the best way to do that is by making your own sounds from scratch. So go ahead and share these videos, man. Anyway, so I have partnered up with the company called Real Loops to release our very first Cherry Audio synthesizer preset pack. This preset pack has over 200 presets. We got presets for 8 voice, we got presets for MG1, DCO, memory mode, Mercury synth, and the list goes on. So make sure you go over to realloops.com to check out the new preset pack. I'm super excited about this pack. We took a lot of time and handcrafted a lot of dope sounds, bell sounds, key sounds, lead sounds, bass sounds, ARP sounds. So make sure you get over there, check that out. I'm gonna be breaking that preset pack down in another video. Anyway, let's get into it, man. So Obsession is a very, very, very high quality Oberheim emulation. And to be honest, it is probably one of my favorites out of all of the Oberheim emulation synthesizers that's out there. This is definitely top of the list. I can't say it's number one, but it is definitely top 3. It's gonna be between Obsession, OP Pro. Go check that video out if you have not seen that. Also, Arturia's SEM is a great emulation. And then you have Plugin Alliance Oberhausen. So these are all really great Oberheim synths. So if you haven't checked out those videos, go ahead and check those out right now. I'm gonna make a playlist of all the Oberheim synths. Go ahead and check out that playlist. But anyway, man, the Obsession is a really lush sounding synthesizer, man. It is so deep. You can get crazy with this synth. So to start off, you can adjust the size of the synth here. We have the modes here where you have single mode where you just play one sound. You have the dual mode where you can play 2 sounds layered, and then you can use this controller here to go in between both. If you want to have one of the sounds playing more than the other, then you can choose which one to edit by clicking on A or B. As you can see here, when I click on A, the controls change. Then you have your patches here, of course. This is the flip the rack around and see the back. You have your pitch bend mod wheel, you have your portamento control, unison, and then you have your oscillator 2 detune here, and then oscillator 2 X mod, which is cross modulation. So that determines how much of oscillator 2's pitch will be modulated by oscillator 1. We have the master section here, which is going to be how you activate your effects, the overall tune, the spread of the voices, and the volume. So with Obsession, you can take each individual voice and pan them exactly how you want to pan them down here, or if you want to have just an overall spread, you can use the spread control, and it's just going to randomly spread them out. So you can choose 8 voices or 16 voices if you right click. But if you don't want to change each one individually, and you see if you click on each one, you can go in and change the voices and have it do exactly what you want it to do. So next we have the modulation section. We have two LFOs. We got LFO 1 and 2. We have the rate here, the LFO shape here. We have the depth control, which controls how much of the LFO affects the destination. We have the frequency, which is going to be oscillator 1, 2, or filter. So with the frequency here for oscillator 1 and 2, that's going to change the pitch. And for the filter, of course, it's going to change the filter frequency. So, and then you have your pulse width modulation section here, and you can either modulate oscillator 1, 2, or both. And this is going to determine how much of the pulse width modulation is taking effect. You have your oscillators here, 1 and 2. You have your pulse width here. Then you have your waveform select here. You can do either saw, pulse, or both. If you leave those unchecked, then it will be a triangle wave. And you can sync the two. So basically with the sync, when you change the pitch of oscillator 2, it's being modulated by oscillator 1. So it creates that off tune kind of unison sound. And then if you click on this F envelope button, then oscillator 2's frequency will be modulated by the filter envelope. So that's going to be this here. So you can control the modulation based on the envelope and have it follow the envelope here. Next, we have the filter, which you have the basic frequency, resonance, envelope amount. Then you have which oscillator is going into the filter. You have a noise oscillator. You can change the filter to band pass. And then you have the 4-pole mode, which basically goes between 12 dB and 24 dB. So basically you can increase the amount of resonance on the filter. So next we have our envelopes. We have the filter envelope here. Then we have the loudness envelope here. Then we have the voice adjustment here. So we can click on each individual one and edit that specific voice to do exactly what you want it to do whenever that voice is activated. So you can get really, really, really crazy with this synth with each voice, but we're not even gonna go all into that. We're gonna keep it simple. And then if you go ahead and flip the panel over by clicking this, you have your mod matrix here. We have a reverb, a delay, and a chorus. And we have the global mode here where you have your VCA saturation, which just basically enables some saturation on the amplifier. Then you have your limiter here. And then you have this organic control here. And that basically modulates all the parameters in every voice randomly, just slightly though. And that can give you that more analog feel where you can slightly throw off each value so everything isn't so static and robotic. Then you have the LFO steps. So this is basically to get a deeper programming on the LFO here. And as you can see over here with the LFOs, you cannot sync them to the tempo. And that, I wish they would change that. I'm like, can we get an update where you can sync the LFO to the BPM? In order to sync it to the BPM, you have to go over here to step mode, and step mode activates this deal here. And then from here, you have to create the shape yourself. So you click on this little deal here and draw it in, which that's cool, but I wish you could just sync it to the tempo and, you know, go on about your business, but it is what it is. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. So let's go ahead and jump into it, man. First, I'm going to initialize the patch, and I'm going to go to 16 voices. I'm going to bring that volume down. So you already know the first thing I love to do is to go ahead and take a listen to the oscillators. I want to see what that natural phase, natural pulse width modulation kind of sounds like with this plugin. So let's go ahead and test that out. In order to do that, you have to have both oscillators activated, which they are, and then you detune them slightly. So with this synth, it's already detuned slightly, so you don't really have to do much. So let's take a listen. So let's go ahead and boost the detune. I love the way that tail sounds with that. That sounds amazing. Let's go ahead and see what the filter sounds like with that. So if you notice there, it sounded like nothing happened, right? That's because you have to bring the envelope amount down and then you'll be able to hear the effect. Beautiful. Sounds amazing. It's nice and thick. So let's go ahead and test out that organic sound so you can kind of hear what that sounds like with just a single note. Let me do this. Before I do that, I'm going to turn down that detune because I want you to see how the waveform moves once you activate that organic. You see how that's just kind of randomly moving. It's not static and it's not the exact same, but it's just slightly moving around. So you'll hear what that sounds like once I start playing the chords. So let's hear what the saturation sounds like. So that just beefed the sound up a little bit. Beautiful. It's got like this weird little buzzy kind of B sound. I love that. It's crazy. Anyway, so let's go ahead and jump into the chord progression. Got the chords in the background. And basically, I'm going to do the real pulse width modulation because that's what I love. Before I do that, I'm going to run through the quote unquote analog magic chain that we got here. I'm just going to run that down to you real quick. So what we have here is the UAD distressor, and it's literally on 1-to-1, no compression. We only want distortion out of this. So we're in HP mode and we have the mix down. So it's just going to give it a little bit of fuzz. Next up, we have the UAD Neve 1073 EQ. And the reason why you can see the utilities here on the left and right of the Neve is because we don't have compensation for the gain in the plugin. And also, I love to control the amount of input that goes into that EQ because the more input, the more distortion is on there. And it's good distortion with this plugin. So next up after that, we have the Arturia tube compressor. And this thing is one of the most powerful compressors. Like, you talking about smithereens. You can smash a sound and literally squash it down with this compressor. So I love that. Have that on there. Not too much input. I have the output boosted. And then we have the mix down on this as well for the parallel compression effect. And then next after that, we have the oxide tape, and oxide tape is just going to give it that extra polish, the extra little glisten on the top end, and a little bit of beef on the mid section to the lower end. So, you know, it just beefs the sound up a little bit and brightens it up. So I love that. So let's go ahead and jump into the chord progression. Put that on pulse. Let me go ahead and turn that down. All right, let's take a listen. Beautiful. Sounds amazing already. So I'm going to go ahead and modulate that pulse width and see what we can get out of that. Beautiful. I love that sound. So I'm trying to get it to where the pulse width goes right to the point to where it's going to stop. So I want it to get right before it cancels out and then bring it back. But anyway, let's go ahead and mess with the filter envelope so we can kind of start to shape the sound. Beautiful. Sounds freaking amazing. So I'm going to activate some of those effects. So when you hit that effects button, everything activates. So I don't want the chorus at the moment. I'm going to turn off the delay. Let's listen to the reverb and see what that sounds like. Love that. That is amazing. So the dope thing about this reverb is they have the shimmer mode. You can activate that and you can kind of get that shimmer reverb sound. So let's see what that sounds like. Beautiful. That is absolutely insane. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and activate this delay. Let me go ahead and turn that down a little bit. Activate that good old delay. Let's see what the delay sounds like. Beautiful. That's lush. All right, so let's go ahead and take a listen to that good old chorus. So I'm going to turn that feedback down a little bit. Turn that down a lot. And let's go ahead and take a listen to the chorus. Beautiful. Let's take it into ensemble mode and see what that sounds like. Beautiful. Me personally, I would like to have a dry wet on that. So I'm going to go back to chorus and let's bring that dry wet down. Beautiful. So let's go ahead and activate that good old analog magic. See what we can get out of that. I'm going to do these one at a time so you can kind of hear what's going on. Okay. Beautiful. That just added a little bit of fuzz onto the sound. Now I'm going to go ahead and activate the good old EQ. And basically, you know, I've got the bands boosted here, and then I've got the filter kind of knocking off some of that low end because there's a lot of rumble going on. So let's take a listen to that and see what it sounds like. I'm going to start by turning the input down, and then we'll build up. Beautiful. Love the way that just brings the sound out. You could really start to hear what that synth sounds like once you put that Neve on there. So let's go ahead and put on the tube compressor. And I'm going to turn the dry wet down and slowly boost it. You see how it just starts to pull on that delay? Before it was just like in the background, you kind of hear. But then once you hit that tube compressor, it becomes almost the star of the show. It's like, come on up stage, buddy. Pow. And you can hear that reverb till as well. Perfect. So let's go ahead and move on to the oxide tape. And basically with this, I'm not going to change any of the controls. I'm going to leave it as is. And you'll hear it. That is amazing. Yo, that's the end of this video. Let me know what you think about this plugin. Give your final thoughts. Go ahead and drop a comment below. And, you know, let's get the conversation going, man. What do you say is the best Oberheim plugin emulation? What's your favorite? But anyway, go ahead and look at the playlist of all the Oberheim plugins that I've reviewed. check them out, and then come back to this video and let me know which one is your favorite out of all the ones that I've covered so far. Anyway, this is that guy Face Music Media. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. If you haven't already, go to the playlist and take a look at some of the other reviews for the synthesizers. Stay tapped in because we have so much more content coming. And until next time, man, we out of here. Peace.